This daf is sponsored by David Grossman. Thank you for your sponsorship. If you would like to sponsor an Amar daf, see the description box below to see how you can support this channel. We continue now at the top of Daf Yomi Gemara and Meseches Bava Metzia. This is Bava Metzia Daf 25b. The Gemara continues with a question from Rav Ashi. What if a person finds coins and they're set up ka'avnei beis kulis? They're set up like the stones of the house of kulis. Mahu, what would be the halacha in that situation? Rashi explains ka'avnei beis kulis markulis. That's the avodah zara markulis v'shem avodah zara. That's the name of an avodah zara. It's a Roman avodah zara. Some say it's Mercury. The Gemara will explain later how exactly that is set up. The Gemara says, Tashma, come and hear the following proof. The Tanyas we learned in a Brisa. Matzah mos mefuzaros, if he finds money that's scattered, harei l'shalo, it belongs to him. He can keep that money. Ka'avnei beis kulis, but if it's set up like the stones of the house of kulis, then chayav lahachers. Then he is obligated to announce the stones. Ve'elohein avnei beis kulis, and this is the formation of the stones in the house of kulis. Achas mikan, v'achas mikan. You have one over here, v'achas al gaben, and then you have one on top of the two. Rashi says achas mikan, v'ashlishis. The third one, chetzi al zeh. Half of it is on one, and half of it is on the other. And the Gemara continues, Tanur, one of the rabbis taught, Hamotze Sela B'shuk, if somebody finds a Sela, coin in the marketplace, Umetzoch Aveiro, V'yamar lo Shalihu, and then his friend finds him and says, that coin is mine. And he identifies it by saying, Chadoshahi, it's a new coin, Neironis, it's Neironis, means the Caesar Neiron is written on it, Shel Melech Plonihi, or it belongs to a particular king. Lo amar klum, he hasn't said anything. He's not able to get the coin by stating that. V'lo, not only that, ela afilu shmo kasav ala, even if the person's name is written on the coin, lo amar klum, he has not said anything. Lefisha ein simin lematbeah, because there is no simin when it comes to a coin. Do amar dilma afuke afka umeinish achrina nafal, because we say maybe you spent the coin and it really fell from a different person. And the Gemara continues with the Mishnah, Matza achar hagapa o achar hageder goes zolos mikusharim. If he finds behind a wooden fence or behind a stone fence small birds that are tied up, or b'shvilin shebesadas, or he finds them in the paths in the fields, harei ze lo yiga behen, he should not touch them. Matzah kli ba'ashba, if he finds a vessel in the garbage dump, in mechusa, if it's covered, lo yiga bo, he shouldn't touch it. In megula, but if it's uncovered, no to l'machers, he should take it and announce it. And Rashi explains, Matzah achar hagapa o achar hageder goes zolos mekushar, and again he finds the small birds behind the fence. Gapa stimas kosel shel eitz. A gap is a wooden wall, or shelkanim, or it's made of reeds, again a wooden fence. Geder shel avonim, a geder is made out of stones. Lo yiga behen, he shouldn't touch them. Taimah mefarish b'gemara, the reason will be explained in the Gemara. And then we said in the garbage dump, mechusa lo yiga bo, if it's covered, don't touch it. De'ein zu aved, again this is not a lost object. Shehei muzar aleh below sucha le'esalim, that he should be warned about it, that he can't hide his eyes from it. To mishtamer, who that's something that's actually protected, it's not considered an aveda, therefore he shouldn't touch it. And the Gemara says, my time, what's the reason he can't take the small birds? Because we say, Hani inishatz ne'inu, a person actually placed them over here intentionally. V'shakilhu, and if the person does take them, les lu l'marayu simana begavayu, the owners have no siman for these birds. Hilkach, therefore, l'shvekinu ada'asim marayu v'shakilhu, just leave them where they are until their owners come and take them. And the Gemara says, V'amai, why? L'have kesher simana, why can't the knots, because they're tied together over here, why can't that be a siman? Amar Rabbi Abba bar Zavda, Amarav, Rabbi Abba bar Zavda says that Rav says, B'mekusharin b'kanfein, we're talking about where they're tied by their wings, to kuliyal mahachi mekatrilu, that's how everybody ties it, so it's not a siman. V'l'have makom siman, the Gemara says, let the location be a siman. Amar Ravukva bar Chama says, b'modedin, we're talking where they're able to hop along, and therefore they're not in the same place. The Gemara says, b'modedin, but if we're talking about where they're able to hop along, me'alma su mutar, they probably came from somewhere else, and therefore they're mutar. And the Gemara says, ikol amemar me'alma, so it's possible to say they came from somewhere else. However, v'ikol amemar inishatz ninu, it's also possible to say that somebody placed them here intentionally. V'havalei safek hinuach, therefore it's a doubt, it's a situation of what's called safek hinuach, a doubt of whether it was placed here intentionally. V'yamar Rabbi Abba bar Zavda, Amar Rav, and Rabbi Abba bar Zavda says that Rav says, call safek hinuach, anytime you have a situation of a doubt whether it was placed in a certain place, l'chatzchila lo yital, so l'chatzchila, if the person encounters these items, he really shouldn't take them. V'yam natal, now if he does take them, lo yachzer, so at that point in time, he need not return it. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, Matzah kli ba'ashba, if he finds a vessel in the garbage dump, mechus, if it's covered, lo yigabo, he shouldn't touch it. Megul, if it's uncovered, no to lumachers, he takes it and he announces it. And the Gemara says, Uraminu, we have a contradiction from the following brisa. Matzah kli taman ba'ashba, if he finds a vessel that is hidden in the garbage dump, no to lumachers, he has to take it and announce it. Shekain derech ashba lefanos, because it's the way of a garbage dump to be cleared. So here it's saying that you announce it. In the Mishnah it says that he shouldn't touch it. And the Gemara says, Amar Rav Zvid says, Lokash, it's not difficult. Ha bekuvi v'kasi, in one case we're talking about containers and cups. Ha b'sakina v'himnik, in the other case we're talking about smaller items, knives and forks. And the Gemara explains, bekuvi v'kasi, by containers and cups, lo yiga, that's when he shouldn't touch it. B'sakina v'himnik, but if it's knives or forks, no to lumachers, then he takes it and he announces it. And Rashi explains, Shekain derech ashba lipanos, it's the way of the garbage dump to be cleared. And the idea is, v'lo shakelei hai hashta, if this person doesn't take it now, l'chashayifne yitlena nachri o Yisrael, when it's cleared, a non-Jew or a Jew will take it, chashid, meaning a Jew that's suspect will take it. Hilkach aveda, he therefore it's considered an aveda, umuzar leh, that's why the Brisa says he is warned about it, and he has to announce it. Again, the Brisa said he has to announce it, the Mishnah said he did not, and the Gemara answered kuvi v'kasi when it comes to containers and cups, so that's tamun and midas have that the person put there on purpose, that shouldn't be touched. But if it's smaller items, sakini v'himnik, if it's knives and forks, shein kelim ketanim, which are small items, avedahin, that's a lost object, shishlicham sham im ha'ashba sheyotzim an abayis, he accidentally put that with the garbage that he cleared from the house. Ulekamon parach, and Rashi says later on, the Gemara will ask, mai shekain derech ashba lipanos, if the reason is because it's small items that he accidentally threw out, so what is it talking about that that's the way of the garbage to be cleared? That has nothing to do with it. We're making a distinction between larger items and smaller items. And the Gemara continues with a second answer. Papa says, Hava bekuvi v'kasi. Both the Mishnah and the Brisa are talking about containers and cups, larger items. For Lokash, it's not difficult. Kan ba'ashba hasui lefanos. In one case, we're talking about a garbage dump that is going to be cleared, so there he has to announce it. Kan ba'ashba she'ein hasui lefanos. In the other case, we're talking about a garbage dump that is not going to be cleared, so there he should just leave it where it is. But the Gemara says, Ashba hasui lefanos, but if it's a garbage dump that's going to be cleared, aveda midasi, so that's like the person threw it away on purpose. It's essentially ownerless. There's no need to return that at all. And so the Gemara says, Ella rather, ba'ashba she'ein hasui lefanos. What we're talking about is a garbage dump that isn't normally cleared, v'nimlach aleh lefanosa, but the owner decided to clear it, so then again, in order to save the item, he should take it and announce it. And the Gemara says, Bishlam al Rapapa. Now I understand, according to Rapapa's answer, who's making a distinction in terms of whether it's going to be cleared or not. Hainu dekatani, that's exactly what the Brisa said, Shekain derech ashba lefanos, that the way of the garbage dump is to be cleared. It's because it's going to be cleared that you have to announce it. Elul Rav Zvid, but according to Rav Zvid, who made the distinction between smaller items that get thrown out on purpose and larger items that were placed there intentionally, Mai Shekain derech ashba lefanos, what does the Brisa mean when it says that you should announce it because it's the way of the garbage dump to be cleared? That has nothing to do with it. The reason is because it's a smaller item and was probably thrown out accidentally. And the Gemara says that's actually what it means to say, Shekain derech ashba lefanos law kelim ketanim. It's the way in the garbage dump that accidentally people throw out smaller vessels. And the Gemara continues with the Mishnah, Matzah begalu v'kosel yashin, if he finds it in a heap of stones or in an old wall, hareilu shalo, he can keep those items. Matzah bekosel chodesh, if he finds it in a new wall, mechetzio v'lachutz, if it's from the midpoint of the wall and towards the outside, towards the public, shalo, then he could keep it. Mechetzio v'lefnim, but if it's from the midpoint towards the inside, towards the private property, shal balabayis, so then the item belongs to the balabayis. If the property is rented out regularly to other people, even if it's in the house, he can keep the items. We can't identify the owner based on the location because this location is constantly rented out to different people. And Rashi explains, Matzah begal, he finds it in a heap, gal avonim, a heap of stones, mechomash shenafla, from a wall that fell down. Hareilu shalo, he keeps those items, begamar mefarish, the Gemara will explain. And then in a new wall, mechetzi v'lachutz, if it's towards the outside of the wall, be'achon mechore kosel asmuchim l'Rosh Hashanah, means to say, one of the holes in the wall that's closer to the Rosh Hashanah, Matzah mechetzi oviv shal kosel v'lachutz shalo, again he finds it from the midpoint towards the outside, he can keep it. Di'amrinan echon mivnei Rosh Hashanah, nasnu shav meshachach, we say, somebody from the Rosh Hashanah put it there and forgot about it. Now, even though we just said before that if there's a doubt if someone placed it there intentionally, he shouldn't take it. In this case, it was certainly placed there. The The Gemara is going to say that the Mishnah is talking about where the item is very rusty and therefore there's despair of the owners. And Rashi continues, Va'afilu matzu b'soch habayis, even if it's found inside the house. This is talking about where it's an area that's rented out to many people. To lo yadua demaninu, we don't know who it belongs to. Uva'olav noashu, and again the owners have despaired. And the Gemara says, Tana was taught, and Rashi explains, Tana gabe gal, if you find something in a heap of stones, v'kosel yoshan, or you find something in an old wall, what's the reason you could keep it? Because you could say to him, Shalamoriyim hein, it belongs to the Amoriyim. Rashi says, Sheyachal lomer lo lebal hagal, meaning you could say to the owner of the heap, or lebal hakosel, or to the owner of the wall, Shel Amoriyim, Shorishu avosenu hayu, meaning it goes way back. The Amori who used to live in the land, it really belongs to them. It doesn't belong to you, and therefore I'm allowed to keep this item. The Gemara says, Atu Amorim Matzni Yisrael Matzni. You think the Amori, they're hiding things, but the Jews are not hiding things. That doesn't make sense. And the Gemara says, Lo, no, tzricha, it's necessary. And Rashi explains, Yisrael lo Matzni, the Jews are not hiding things. Umechetziu v'lefnim, meaning to say, from the midpoint and towards the private property. Amai shelo, why does he keep it? Hare bala bayezem mishtamish bozeh kamashonim. The owner of this property has been using it for several years, for many years, and therefore he should be presumed to be the owner. And we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Chavav Amud Aleph.